I've known Carol my whole life, or at least I thought I did. She bottle fed me and rocked me to sleep when I was a little baby. She was Mom's best friend, had been since high school. But when I stayed the night at her place to have sleepovers with her daughter as I got older, my perception of her changed. One night, me and Samantha, Carol's daughter, were playing dress-up late at night, and I remembered that Carol's new boyfriend had been over the previous weekend. I asked Samantha about him, and she said he came over a few nights ago and was still there when she went to bed. Her mom went back downstairs after tucking her in to have another glass of champagne with him, and there had been no word from him since. Carol seemed to go through boyfriends faster than a high school freshman, but 7-year-old me thought nothing of it. Until one night, when I was about 15, me and Samantha hadn't spent the night with each other in a while, and we had plans to stay up all night watching scary movies. Carol was out of town as her latest love interest had bought her a weekend getaway package for their 6-month anniversary. As far as I knew, that was the longest she'd ever been with a man. I excused myself to go upstairs to use the restroom. On my way back, I noticed a candle burning in Carol's room. She must have forgotten to blow it out before leaving that afternoon. As I walked into her room and blew it out, I noticed what looked like a leather-bound journal laying next to it. I briefly considered flipping through it, and then realized it probably had intimate details about Carol's sex life that I would rather not know about. But, ever since I could remember, Carol had drilled one rule into my and Samantha's heads. Do not go in the basement. It's private. When I was younger, I thought she had hidden riches down there. As I got older, I suspected something more along the lines of Christian Grey's Red Room of Pain. But maybe this would tell me the truth. I decided to quickly flip through a few of the latest entries. Looking over my shoulder to make sure Samantha was still downstairs, I sat down on the bed and opened the book to an entry dated about 5 months ago. He's so perfect. I've been collecting the parts for so long, and I think I finally found the vessel to house those parts. His eyes and hair are nothing special, but his body is absolutely perfect. I have to get him to trust me, though. I've got to be very careful and make sure I've got him fully ensnared in me before deciding to take him like I've taken the others. I'll finally have my perfect man. Taken? Taken what? Their virginity or something? These were men her own age. Was that her thing? Was she a dominatrix that liked to take men's virginities? And what is this about parts in a vessel to house them? Something told me the answer to these questions were in the basement. But I couldn't read anymore. I heard Samantha calling my name up the stairs questioningly. I quickly went back downstairs, but my mind never left that leather-bound journal. Around 5 a.m., I found myself half paying attention to the girl on the TV screen, running in the woods from the crazy axe murderer, and half contemplating taking a picture of Samantha, who was currently snoring and drooling, and posting it on her social media accounts to embarrass the hell out of her. My mind kept returning to the basement. I was tired and bored, so what the hell, right? I quickly got up from the couch and made my way through the kitchen to the basement door. For someone who never wanted anyone to see her basement, Carol sure didn't take many precautions. No padlock or anything. I opened the door, hoping it wouldn't creak. My nerves started to make my stomach flutter. Did I really want to see what was down here? Surely it wasn't anything sinister. I made my way down the stairs and flipped on the lights. I looked around for a moment and thought, what the hell? Why would no one be allowed down here? All that was down there was a love seat, TV, table, and a few chairs. Maybe they played strip poker down here. I started to turn around and go back up the stairs when I noticed another door, almost invisible in the shadows. I was already down here. Might as well see what was behind that door, too. I pulled it open, and it opened into a room just as big as the den area. And the first thing that hit me was the smell. There had obviously been a family of rats living down here that had died or something, because it was the smell of death and decay. It was much darker than the den area, so I couldn't see anything inside for a moment. Once my eyes adjusted, oh my god, there was a man, shackled to the wall. His wrists were shackled high on the wall, so he was in the standing position. But the man was dead. I could tell from the color of his skin. He had no eyes, they'd been gouged out. I could see stitches around his hairline, almost as if someone else's scalp had been sewed onto his head. Wait a minute. That's exactly what had happened. Suddenly, Carol's journal entry made sense. Parts in a vessel to house those parts? I looked into the far corner of the room and I could see a pile of different body parts laying there. Eyes and scalps and lips, some of which had decayed into puddles of liquid. As the shock ebbed slightly, I became more and more aware of the pungent odor and had realized I needed to leave before I threw up. I turned to go, and I heard a weak voice in the corner of the room. Help me. There was a man, barely alive, with both his legs cut off, laying in one corner of the room. I was so shocked and overwhelmed at the time, but I clearly remembered the pain and fear that his plea held. I turned and ran back up the stairs, left a note for Samantha telling her that I wasn't feeling well and had decided to go home, and then ran a few streets over to my house. That was 2 weeks ago, and I haven't been back since. Carol's been over a couple of times, and I've avoided her each time. I'm terrified that her latest boyfriend is going to go missing, and I'm going to be the only one who knows what happened to him. How does she live with herself after doing that to all those men? All for the perfect man.